Hey there, we are here live with my bad mama jamma for the week. Angela Tucker, formerly known as Angela Tucker, now Angela Tucker Allen. Angela.
Yes.
Bishop Ward, you were a star basketball player for all 4 years. I believe you started your freshman year on varsity, right?
Yes.
And you were the starting lineup from your freshman year on varsity through your senior year.
Right.
Okay, you have a record at Bishop Ward that has not been broken to this day. It's now 2021, and what record has not been broken yet?
Rebound record.
So you have that rebound record. It took what you from 80. You started high school in what year?
I finished in 85, so I started in 82.
You started high school in 82? Okay.
Right?
All right. I started in 80. So.
You started in 81.
I started in 81.
You suck at math.
81, 82, 83, 84. Yeah, 81.
Okay. So, when you started varsity in your freshman year, before that you had a little trauma going on. Can you tell us about your trauma that you had prior to, and what year? Did it happen in your freshman year or your...
It was meningitis, and yeah, it happened my freshman. I think it was my freshman year. Yeah.
Freshman year.
The beginning of my freshman year.
Okay, because I remember the night that you came home from school one day and you said that you had a headache and you couldn't bend your chin to your neck, which is an indication of meningitis. And then you went to sleep that night, and Mom said that Daddy never talked in his sleep. And then he said to Mom in his sleep, "D, go check on Angela." And I remember Mom came in the room to check on you, and I heard you literally. I was in my little twin bed. You were in the twin bed by the door. Mom came to check on you, and she said, I heard her yell, "Clinton, she's not breathing." And then Daddy jumped into action. He came and got you out of the bed, took you in the shower, turned the water on cold, and started beating you in the back. And then he said, "D, I'm beating her in the back as hard as I would a grown man, and she's not responding." And they called the ambulance. They had Clint run downstairs to get some ice. The ambulance got there, and the firefighters were more enamored with the work that Daddy did in the house and getting upstairs to check on you. And Daddy told them like 2 or 3 times, "My daughter's upstairs. My daughter's upstairs," because they kept inquiring about who did the work on the house. And you were in the hospital for how long?
I think about a week or two.
A week or two. Yeah, it seemed like it was a while. And then you were, like, I remember people in high school, teachers and everything, keep coming up to me asking me, "How's your sister? How's your sister?" And I said, "She's fine," or "She's coming home today," or whatever. And you were ready to go back out, ready to go start basketball season again when?
It took a while. At first I wasn't going to play. First I didn't even know if I could walk.
Yeah, because I remember the doctors telling Mom and Daddy that if you lived, that you wouldn't be very productive, and you ended up like coming back and surprising everyone. So
I had to walk, so that I could walk without getting tired and all of that. But when basketball came, it was a little harder because we had to run. I think it was 2 miles, and I forgot the time, but we ended up having to keep paper bags on the side for me to blow in because I kept hyperventilating when we ran.
This was in high school?
When I came back from meningitis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you went out to play basketball, and you became like the starter, and then you became like the leading point scorer and stuff like that, and rebounder. And you always had right up in the papers, and they'd always talk about you on the news. And you were like, the star player in like your junior year. Was it your junior year you started getting calls for colleges? Like several colleges wanted you. I think you said KU wanted you, Loyola College, and what state wanted you? Was that in
Northwestern? I can't even remember. Northwestern was one.
And they were all offering full rides.
Yeah.
And then I know the coach where I went to school, Kansas City, Kansas Community College, he'd always come up to me and be like, "Hey, tell your sister if she wants to come back to Kansas City, I'd give her a full ride." Every time I saw him in the hallway, I would literally try to run from him because he'd tell me that same spiel every time I saw him. And I was like, why? I'm thinking to myself, why would you want to come back from Florida State to play at Kansas City, Kansas Community College on a full ride.
Because maybe he thought because it was so far that I would change my mind.
Yeah. So when you what made you decide to go to Florida State in the end, to choose Florida State out of all the schools that wanted you?
I don't know. I thought that it was someplace I wanted to go. It had my major. It was pretty when I went. I enjoyed the coach.
What was your major?
It was engineering, and then I changed it to commercial art.
Okay. So it was engineering, and then she changed it to commercial art, and she changed her major according to mom because the engineering building was too far to walk at FAMU.
I didn't want to go on. I was afraid to go on FAMU's campus.
FAMU's campus, yeah. So FAMU was where the engineering program was, but Florida State, where you got your scholarship, was where the art program was. So I'm going to show a picture here of. And I remember when colleges were calling you for basketball scholarships, they were offering you full rides. And I would tell Daddy, I said, hey, a college called me today for a basketball scholarship. And he said, are you sure? He would get quiet and be like, are you sure they weren't calling for your sister? And I said, no, they said Susan, and they didn't offer me a full ride. And so I remember like a couple of times when we were in basketball in high school that I was awarded a trophy that you were supposed to get. They got us mixed up, and so they were trying to give the trophy to me, and you told the coach to let me go ahead and get up and get it, and then he said, no, you go get your trophy yourself. What were you thinking when I was walking up to get your trophy that you earned and I did not?
That we live in the same house and I was going to get it anyway, so
yeah.
That why embarrass her and have her come back and sit down?
Yeah, that was kind of embarrassing going to sit back down after, I was awarded.
That's what I didn't want him to do. That's why I said that.
Okay, but then too, there was a write-up in the paper about you, but they gave me all your points. And Father Bill came and told me, hey, Susan, you had one heck of a game last night. Do you remember that incident?
No.
Okay. And then when we were, when in the summertime, me, you, and Rhonda would always, I know you all always improved you all's games by playing basketball with the boys in the summer down at Parkwood Pool, behind the fire station in Fairfax. And do you think that helped you build your game in the summer to be a better player every year?
We always play it with boys, so that always made my game faster and all of that. So
yeah, playing with boys does make your game because boys play super fast. And I remember to do all over again. Would you go back to Florida State to play basketball?
No.
Because I remember Daddy didn't want you to go. The coach was persistent, and she kept coming to our house on 1030 Quindaro Boulevard, and begging Daddy to let you go to Florida State to play basketball. She came several times. He finally said, okay, she can go, but make sure you keep her safe there at the school. And she promised to keep you safe. And then before you left, Daddy was kind of sick, and he said goodbye to, on the porch when you were leaving. And you and Mom went to Florida State. Mom went with you at first, and for like a week or so to get you settled in. And then Daddy got sick. You came back home for a little bit. Then you went back to play. And I remember Mom talking to you on the phone every day, begging you to stay because you didn't want to stay there, because you said it was like a job, because you felt like your coach that recruited you at one point was no longer there. And
because Daddy didn't want me to go in the first place.
Yeah.
That's what I told her.
Yeah. So, but the one that recruited you, she ended up leaving after a year, and then you stayed, and the coach after her wasn't so professional or nice coach. Mm-hmm. And so that you lost your love for basketball at that point, right?
I did.
And then you wanted to come home, and Mom was like, stay there. You have a full ride. Your father's now gone. Please stay there. And you stayed there for a few more years, and then you decided, you know what, this isn't for me. So how did you feel about that decision to leave and come back to Kansas City?
Hindsight now, I wish I would have stayed, but at the time, I needed to come home. There was too much going on, and I was too far, and nobody was there with me, and it was a lot to grow up as sheltered as we were, and then to be introduced to something like that, I wasn't ready for it.
So you would have taken Coach Bingham's office at KCK Community College had you had the opportunity?
I probably would have gone to KU or somewhere closer.
Yeah. So what would you tell young girls today that have a full ride offer to go play a sport at a college? Because I remember you used to go to practice. I remember 2 to 3 times a day at Florida State, and the coaches, one of your coach that came after the first coach, she told you that when you were studying, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're here for basketball. Basketball is what got you here, and basketball is going to be what keeps you here. What would you tell young girls today that are going through that? Because I remember, didn't you say that at one point the boys on the football team were getting like treated very well? They were getting like answers to the test and stuff like that before the test happened, and the girls got treated a little bit differently.
Yeah, the girls were the money was in the football, so the girls. When I went, she basically told the new coach that came in told me that because my classes, my studios were during some of the practices, or at the beginning of some of the practices, that I needed to change my major because I was there for basketball, and that I should change to PE or physical education or something that didn't interfere with basketball, which I did not agree to do. So I think that was where some of the issues that she and I had came in. But any girl that's going to play, first of all, I tell them that whatever it took for you to get recruited, continue to do it, because when you go to college, everyone can play. Everyone, they recruited everyone because they were good at what they did. So to continue being good at what you do, even with players up that you're among that are just as good as you have to keep stepping up your game. That means being in the gym. That means reps on the floor. All the work it took for you to get there, you have to do that same work to stay.
Yeah, so the same, because they're in college, there's girls just as good as you or better, so you have to keep up your talent. Don't stop practicing. Don't stop, the love of the game, whatever. And I remember one more thing, the shot that you had that Daddy used to always tell you not to stop trying to be like Elijah Wan. Elijah Wan was a famous black basketball player. I forgot who he played for back in the day. You had a 360. You called it a turnaround jumper, and you do it in a lot of games. And it seemed like you made that shot every single time.
Yeah.
Is that a shot that I think you still do that shot today when you play, don't you?
Mm-hmm. And it's weird because I see Corbin does it all the time. And his coach is trying to keep him from doing it. But it's weird because Daddy used to do it too. So it's the stuff you pass down that's not intentionally passed down. It's just in your blood. And yeah, that was my shot.
Yeah, that was I remember Daddy yelling, "Stop doing the shots! Just shoot the D ball." And your first memory of playing basketball with Daddy, I know that when I played with the first time with Daddy, it was his friends, and he would be like, "Hold them," and I'd look up at them. I think I was like really young, like 7 or 8 years old, and I was like looking up at them like, "Who? How am I supposed to hold them?" And you do not have a memory of playing with Daddy at first? You just remember the basketball goal he put up in the backyard?
I didn't play with him. I met a man this year at one of the basketball games that knew Daddy, and he told me that when I was little, that they had you, and then they wanted a boy so bad that when I was born I didn't have any hair, so he would take me to the gym with him. They would come get him, and he would take me. So Mom wouldn't have to have both of us, and he would put me in the gym and just put all the people's clothes and bags around me like a playpen around me, and I would just sit in the gym and be in there with them playing. And I didn't know that because I was too young. But
that's cool.
That was a story that he told me at the end of last JUCO season, because he was at one of the games. It was interesting hearing that because I don't remember ever playing with him. But that's something that he said he would remember, because he said he would always have you with him. I would come pick him up, and he'd come carrying you outside, and you'd just sit in the gym while we were playing, and he'd pack up all your stuff, and we would watch it. We were sitting on there waiting on next, and I was like, oh, that was cool. So that was interesting to hear. So that's I never played with him. I don't remember ever playing with him.
So that's where your love of basketball probably came for. I remember when the Kings were here as a team in Kansas City, and Daddy used to always love to go to the Kings games and watch them play, especially against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Do you remember going to those games with Daddy?
It's weird going in Kemper Arena now because I can still, I remember going in there, and even though the name of it has changed, the setup is basically the same, and the seats, and it's kind of cool going in there now.
I like to go in there. It seems like it would be cool going in there. It would be my first memory would be of the games and going with Daddy and listening to the sound of the game playing, like the sounds that what's the music that they play during the games, like the buzzer clock. I remember the buzzer going off a lot and the crowds and stuff like that. Well, so Angela has given us our word for young girls that are going into a sport to play, on a full ride basketball. Now I'm going over to Paige. And Paige had a pretty good few years at Oak Park High School, where her mom is a basketball coach. I forgot to say that you're a basketball coach there now, and you long-term substitute teach there since you have retired from AT&T after so many years at AT&T. Mm-hmm. And so, back to Paige. Do you wish your mom was coaching when you were there, Paige?
Yeah, I never had a parent as a coach, so that would have been something cool to have to experience.
What do you think about your mom's coaching skills?
Well, I only got to watch the games online, but it looked like she did a pretty good job. So I know she coached when we were younger, so she has some experience.
Okay. And then you, throughout your high school year, you scored 2,400 points from your freshman year to your senior year, and everybody was there for your 2,000th point. How did that feel, scoring that 2,000th point?
It felt good. I never thought I would get to 2,000 points in my career, but having everybody there watching me get my 2,000 point was really special and meant a lot to me, so it was fun.
And you, like your mom, had tons of schools calling you for full ride offers for basketball. How many schools did you have call? Like, what are some of the big schools that you remember wanting you to come and play for them?
I had Omaha, Nebraska, Wichita State, UMKC, schools like that. They were wanting me to come to their school and visit and see if I could go there. What
made you decide to go to Texas A&M?
I just really liked the atmosphere. I liked the players and the coaches. They seemed genuine, and they're very good in my major, which is wildlife biology. And I would get a lot of hands-on experience if I went there. So
good.
I just thought that was the best place.
Did the beach have anything to do with it?
Yeah, it was nice weather.
I haven't been to Paige's school yet, but I love beaches, so I have to get there one time to at least run on the beach once. So how do you like playing basketball in college? What would you say to young girls that are going? Are you glad of your choice of going to Texas A&M, or do you wish you were closer home?
I like being at Texas A&M. A lot of times I do wish I was closer. I start to miss home and miss my family. But I mean, it just comes with growing up, being away from family. But I got acquainted with it and figured things out, and it didn't bother me as much. So I definitely wouldn't say don't let distance be your downfall.
Barrier. Yeah. Okay. So okay, good. So what would you like your grade point, and like your mom too? Your grades are pretty good. Like I call you sometimes at school to check on you, and you're studying, and you do really good in science and math, like your mom does too, and like Daddy did. So what would you tell young girls about basketball and studying? Like Angela said, her coach told her, "You're studying too much. You're here for the sport." What would you tell young girls about that if some coach came up to you and said that?
Yeah, I would say don't listen to that. You definitely have to lock in school and study hard to keep up with basketball and school at the same time, because it can get very tough and overwhelming at times, but you got to be able to push through and make good grades.
And you go to practice, 2 to 3 times a day too?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, it doesn't seem like you have a lot of time to study after going to practice 2 to 3 times a day.
No.
Hopefully it's spaced out.
Yeah.
But every time I called you, you were studying pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's good. You stayed on top of it.
Yeah.
So, okay, Paige. So would you ever go back and coach? Do you see yourself in the future going back to be a basketball coach at high school level or collegiate level or grade school level?
Sometimes I think about coaching. I don't really know if I actually will, but I do think about it.
Okay. Well, Paige, thank you very much, Paige and Angela. Now, Paige has a dog that loves basketball. And later on in this video, I'm going to show you the dog that loves basketball. Angela, I forgot to say, too, that in high school, it used to always... I always wanted to do it. I always wanted to break through the sign. You know, the big sign that they have that you run out? Angela always got to break through the sign to the song Jump that would play at our high school basketball games pre-game. That's what we would warm up on, Jump. And how did you feel running through that sign? I always wanted to do it, but I never got to do it once.
It felt good because they felt like to win we had to be in the same order all the time. That's why they let me go through first, because they wanted us to be. They thought that would be the catalyst to us winning that particular game. So
yeah, that was really cool. Paige, did you ever get to bust through a sign?
Once or twice for special occasions.
How'd that feel?
It felt good.
Man, I admire that so much. All right, well, thank you all for your time, ladies. And this is Megan is gone. She played basketball too. She had a couple of knee injuries, so she wasn't able to keep playing. But she had the height advantage over everybody. Paige is what? How tall are you, Paige?
5'8".
5'8", and Angela 6.
about 5'11".
5'11" and a half. Daddy was what, 6 and a half, and Megan's 6'3". So thank you, ladies, for your time. And for those of you girls, especially that are out there that want get a scholarship for basketball or whatever sport, remember what Angela said and what Paige said. Keep up your grades, keep up the talent, because there's girls out there that are really good. They recruited a lot of good girls. So you're not the only one with the talent. So someone might be able to take your scholarship. So keep it up. Keep working hard. Thank you, ladies. You want to sign off with the basketball or something like that? Paige. Oh, yeah. Paige can dribble the basketball on your finger. You did that in one video before. Sorry. Here you go. Like the Globetrotters. Good job. Andrew, you want to do that too?
No. Thank you.
Bye. See ya.